Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Sri Gyanmanji Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of social science. Students, from the previous many lectures we had started with chapter number 21, which is one of the last chapters of the syllabus and also the last chapter of the civics part of this syllabus. Let's take a quick recap of what we have learned so far in this chapter. Name of the chapter is Social Change. This is the fourth lecture for chapter number 21, that is social changes. Now, first thing is, what is a social change? The change that occurs over a period of time in the social order of the society, that's called a social change. Yes, it can happen due to lots of factors. Some of them are economic, scientific, technological, cultural, religious. It can be a number of factors that affect the social change. We have seen that in detail. Uh, Fundamental rights of the citizens, there are six. Before that, it's necessary to understand the law and to be aware of the laws and rights that are incorporated in the society, in the general administration of the country. And if we are aware of the laws, etc., then it can be helpful to us. And when we know our rights, we can fight for our rights. We can see to it that our rights are maintained and nobody violates our rights. Some of the rights, fundamental rights of the citizens are right to equality, right to freedom, right to uh, uh, religious freedom, right against exploitation, and cultural and education rights. And the last right is a right to the constitutional remedies, which is quite an important one. Next, we studied about the rights of a child. Pre-development, child development is a precondition for economic development that we have seen. Juvenile rights, that means below the age of the adults, right? So below the age of adults, they are called minor children, and for them, juvenile rights are that. Juvenile is a word which is used for children aged below 18. Uh, Earlier it was 18. Nowadays it is 16. Right. So juvenile rights included in the Indian Constitution that we saw. What is child abuse? Yes, the wrongs done to the child. Yes, that's called child abuse. How should we save the children from abuse? That we learned in detail. Child labor and neglected child. That also is a burning issue of the society today, and we have learned that also. Plus, we have learned about the reasons why child labor is popular or why child labor is used more in the society, and what has the government done to stop child labor. These are the things that we have studied so far. The elderly and the helpless, the condition of the elderly people, what's the status of them, what is the percentage of the elderly people in the population, out of that how many males, how many females, according to the latest census of 2011. We have seen all that in detail, and reasons and reasons why the elderly people, they have to suffer so much. Yes, there are a lot many reasons which we have learned. Next thing is what is done for the protection of the elderly people, that also we saw, right? Lots of laws are made where the children cannot make their parents suffer, or the old people. Lots of concession, etc., is given in the different means and methods of transportation. Special concession is given to the savings also, where uh, at almost one more than 1% is given to elderly person, right? When bank savings, etc., are given, so that uh, whatever they have earned for the complete life, that they can save, and they can get more, so that they don't have to be dependent on others. So this is so far what we had learned. Now let us go to the next point of the chapter, that is antisocial activities. What are antisocial activities? That is the first thing. What can be termed as antisocial activities, and what are the different types of crimes that happen in the society? So antisocial activity and types of crime. First thing is, and what is the meaning of antisocial activity? An act of an individual or a group, right? Whatever it is, an act of an individual or of a group which is against the laws and framed for the society, laws framed for the society. Now we have constitution. On the basis of that constitution, lots of laws are made. on the basis of the need, from time to time laws are changed, new laws are made, old laws are modified. All that is done for the betterment of the society, for the welfare of the society, so that people stay away from crime, people do not do crime, and heavy punishment, rigorous punishment is given to them, so that it sets an example for other people to stay away from crime. So whenever one person, act of one person or act of a group also, that goes against the set laws of the country, or that are framed from the society, that is called an antisocial activity. It is not only about stealing, robbing, thieving. Only those things are not the criminal activities that hamper the progress of the society, or which sets in fear in the society. The society that we live in should be free from fear. That is the main purpose. And if all these antisocial activities are curbed or are quite restricted, then the people in the society will feel free to work, feel free in that free atmosphere, and they can develop themselves, they can sustain themselves, and they can survive very well. And the future of the children will be quite bright if these type of antisocial activities are stopped. So with respect to the class of people who does the crime, a crime can be divided into two main types. What are they? One is called a blue collar crime, and another one is called a white collar crime. Now what's a blue collar crime? Yes, criminal activities that involve murder, theft, kidnapping, robbery, cheating, rape, immoral trading of girls, women, that is human trafficking, trickery, yes, where people cheat for money, that is trickery, cybercrime, that is related with computers and all that, right? So all that is called blue collar crime. Yes, we'll do it again so that you better understand that thing. What's a blue collar crime? Any murder, theft, treachery, kidnapping, robbery, cheating, rape, immoral, trafficking of women and children, cybercrime, all those type of crime are called blue collar crime. Now we have another set of crime that is called a white collar crime, right? What is a white collar crime? It's no many people think it as it is the set theories of the society, that without doing this you cannot go ahead, that is, say, bribery, right? uh, Bribery is not only an issue in India, bribery is everywhere in the world, right? So bribery, corruption, tax evasion, hoarding, adulteration, land encroachment, black marketing, these are called white collar crimes. They are done purposefully, and they involve lots of money, etc. But these are, of course, these are crimes, they are serious crimes, but they are not like the blue collar crimes where some hurt is being done, right? And bribery, corruption, tax evasion, hoarding, adulteration. Adulteration means mixing of materials, right? So that the quality of the goods provided is faulty. Land encroachment, taking away somebody's land by force, etc., or you go find a free land which belongs to the government, or somebody, you build a house over there. So that way, taking away somebody's land, black marketing, all of them are called white collar crimes. Now, both blue collar and white collar, yes, both of them are crimes, and they exist in our society. And then, as the name suggests, it is believed that blue collar crimes are done by people in the blue collar job. For example, lower class people who work as workers, laborers, etc. On the other hand, white collar crimes are done by people who are in the white collar jobs. That means one who work in the offices, business, industry, etc. Both of them involve money, sometimes emotions also attached, but both of them literally they are crimes. Now we come to the next topic. What is corruption? Now, the World Bank has given a very small and beautiful definition for corruption. Corruption means misuse of public position for personal benefits. Power is misused, whenever power is misused, whether that power belongs to the administrative or it belongs to the political, say mantri log hai, yeah, administrative means officers who are in the administrative department. Whenever misuse of power is done for personal benefit, then that is called corruption. Yes, from this definition, we can say that corruption takes place when misuse of status and power is done by people. In the act of corruption, people dishonestly persuade someone to act in one's favor, favorably for gift of money or other offerings. Yes, आपका काम नहीं हो रहा है, कहीं पे फाइल अटक रही है, yes, तो थोड़ा सा वजन रखने के लिए बोलते हैं, that means money, right? You got to bribe them, that is corruption, to bribe them because your pending work is not cleared, and you are in a quite bad shape because of that file is not going ahead or your work is not being done. Yes, somewhere something is stopping from advancing. So you give some bribe to him so that they manage the file. No, it has to be honesty, right? Yes, when the work is done in front of them, they have to work accordingly. Now, when you want to get your work done, you have to pay a bribe, then that's a corruption. This act of persuading personal benefits by offering money, that is called bribe. There are several forms of bribe and corruption. They can be in the form of giving and taking money. It can be a gift also. Yes, in any way, that gift is bought with money, right? So it's money actually that you are giving. And presents in the form of costly ornaments or things, or offering foreign trips, partial behavior, influencing decision, favoring relatives, friends, etc. These are all different types of bribes that you are giving, and that means the person in power or the person in the seat who has the authority of signature or passing that file from one table to another. Yes, there can be n number of reasons why you are bribing. Yes, it's not that only that your file is stuck up at some place. Yes, you give cash, you give jewelry, you give offer of a foreign trip, or you say uh, your children's future uh, education, well, we'll be paying for that. But whichever way it is done, it is a bribe. In India, corruption widely exists in most of the public and also some of the private sectors also, both the giver and taker, according to the present law. Earlier, what happens, only the giver of the taker of the bribe was considered a criminal, or it was considered a crime. Nowadays, giver and taker, both of them are considered as having done something wrong. Both the giver and the taker of bribe are part of corruption, and so both of them are guilty. One who is giving a bribe is encouraging the person in power to accept the bribe, right? So what you are doing is also a crime, what he is doing is also a crime. Earlier it was not so. Earlier only the person who was taking the bribe was considered to have done some crime. But nowadays, according to the present law, both giver and taker, both of them are considered guilty and should be punished. Now, the effects of corruption on the economy and the society is quite bad. So let us see about that. Corruption degrades the moral value and rules and regulations meant for the society. So there are some rules and regulations which are set in the society. Same way there are lots of rules and regulations which are set in the administrative department or in the private sector, right? All those rules and regulations, they work as an entry and exit point. Right now you are opening that entry and exit point by taking a bribe. That means agar file mein kuch galat hai, then also you are overlooking that and passing out the file, yes, and putting, endorsing your signature over there. Yes, by taking a bribe, something wrong is being done, right? So corruption degrades the moral value of a person and of the country also. Yes, what happens if a foreigner comes over there and gets stuck up somewhere, right? He is going to think that देखो यहाँ पे भी इतना corruption है, right? So he is not going to take a good image of India and go back to his country. Yes, wherever he sees corruption like this. So problem of black money originates in economy, because now a person who has accepted bribe, that is not a legal way in which he has earned money, that will be termed as black money. And we have already studied in economics regarding black money, that black money, when people have lots of black money, they cannot deposit in banks and they cannot show it in their books. So what happens, they keep on spending, and that will give price rise, right? So at the end, that black money is going to affect the economy of the country. Black money is a major hindrance in development of the country, right? Trust of honest people on state laws, judicial process, government, and administrative system decreases. We have full trust on the police. We have full trust on the courts. Yes, whenever something wrong happens to us, we run to the police station for help. We ask for the police to help us out. Whenever something wrong happens to us, we rush to the court and seek justice. Now, what happens if these systems filled by lots of people who accept bribes and etc.? So what happens is our trust on these systems, they fall out, right? So we lose trust on the state laws, judicial system, governments also, and administrative systems, etc. Such people then experience frustration and disappointment. Now, people, those who have to go through this, now they feel quite frustration कि यहाँ तो बगैर पैसा का काम चलता ही नहीं है, right? Everybody is taking bribe, everybody is corrupt, whole of the system is corrupted, and they feel quite disgusted and disappointed. Injustice and disparity in income originates because somebody is accepting bribe, he has lots of black money, yes, आराम से एक तो बंगला दो तीन गाड़ी लेके घूम रहा है, and the person who is working with him in the same category is not that much rich because he is an honest person, he doesn't take bribes. So disparity in income is going to increase, and that will result in class struggles. This results in violation of human rights also. Due to corruption, morality and national character becomes weak, that we have understood. Economic system of the nation also becomes weak. Now, government's effort to curb corruption. Now, when government knows that such a lot of corruption is happening in the system, in the country, then what is the government doing to curb? Curb means to control or stop it, right? Efforts made by, very, very, very important. Anti-Bribery Bureau was established way back in 1964. The main function of the bureau is to investigate the corruption charges made against government employees, because mostly government offices में, government departments में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग जाते हैं और वहाँ पे fixed permanent jobs में लोग बैठे रहते हैं, and they ask for corruption. Yes, they ask for bribe, and without doing that, they don't work. So, first of all, in 1964, Anti-Bribery Bureau was established. The main work is to look after the complaints received from the people against government employees, so that things can be set out right over there. Yes, people who are taking bribes, they can be booked. Yes, and um, they can be produced in the court, and cases can run on that, and that will set an example for others not to follow such corruption. Moreover, the bureau catches corrupt people red-handed and punishes them. Yes, we know LCBI, Local Crime Bureau, right? And that looks after all that. The headquarters of this bureau, please understand, for Gujarat it is Shahi Bagh, Ahmedabad. General public facing corruption problems can. This is very important. Toll-free number is 1800-2334-4444. This is the toll number for. Toll number means सीधी भाषा में हम फोन करेंगे पे सामने वाला करेगा, right? Or it is free, right? So that is the meaning. So toll free number, you can always inform the government, you can always inform the department in over there, that is the headquarters over there, and rest of the work will be done by them, so that you don't face corruption, and the person who is trying to take bribes in any manner threaten you for not doing your work without taking some bribe. So that can be handled by the Anti-Corruption Bureau. To stop corruption, the government of India, very, very important, Anti-Corruption Act was passed in 1988. This is very, very important. That means now it becomes a law, and people can be booked under it in the police stations, and cases can run against them in the courts, and justice can be had. Objective of this act is to provide clean public life and to stop the misuse of power and position. It is compulsory for every public servant, high officials, and politicians to provide information regarding their earning. Of course, everybody files income tax, etc., but they have to declare the income that they have. Now, we know with the help of bribe, corruption, lots of people have amassed huge wealth, but now can they show it to the government? They cannot show it, right? So, it is made compulsory for all the government employees to uh, inform the government regarding their properties before they assume their posts. If the property of any such person increases more than his appropriate income, nowadays looking for a bribe, now he has for the last 15-20 years he has been taking bribes. Now we do not know because nobody has filed a complaint. लोगों को अपना काम करना था, bribe दिया, काम खत्म हो गया. They forget it. Okay, we had to pay. That is how that is how people work, because they know in the system you cannot go ahead without bribe. So they will pay the bribe and forget it. But he has also done a crime. That's okay. But then the opposite person who has taken the bribe or done corruption, he has done a greater crime, right? Because he forced someone to give a bribe. Yes, otherwise, if he had done his duty, it would have been quite normal. But he was not doing his duty, and in order that he does his duty, passes the file or endorses his signature, yes, everything is according to the requirement, then also he is not signing it, he wants some money. So he has forced someone to give him money just in order to endorse his signature and pass the file. So that is a crime. Now, for 15-20 years, how can you look back where all places has he taken the bribe, and from which are all the people who paid him so much money that now today he has 2, 3, 5 crores with him. Actually, his total income, according to the salary that he gets per month, is not much, but then he has lots of, a very good word is used over here, inappropriate income. Yes, he is not able to prove where he got this money. Yes, because that is all bribe money, and that is all corruption money, and that is all black money. So he is not able to prove it, and that means he has collected it inappropriately. So nowadays, with the help of law, even a person, if he has inappropriate income, he cannot show it how he got the money, then he can be booked in it during his working tenure. It indicates that there has been some corruption. Now, on that basis, case can be run against a person and punish them. Moreover, government takes such property in their possession and leaves the person with nothing. Government has issued Right to Information 2005 RTI, right to information, and Citizens Charter Agreement. Under these, the government employees has to promise to complete administrative work in stipulated time period by eliminating delays. Now, if you have gone to the bank, many of the banks, they follow a very good process, right? When you go to the bank, a clear timetable will be given to you that if you have come to make a DD, then DD में इससे ज़्यादा time लगता है, then you can directly contact the manager and ask that why such a delay is happening, right? So that bank employees, they work fast and efficiently, right? हमको पता है government offices में कैसे काम होता है, बाबूजी चाय पीने चले गए, right? So in that way, they just loiter around and they don't do the work. To make them work efficiently without taking bribes, without doing corruption. So these are the measures taken by the government. By eliminating delay in their own working area and work under the power, and to make the administration transparent and simple. Recently, central government has enacted Black Money Act in 2005. So people can be booked under that also. The government has also made changes, very, very important. FEMA. FEMA stands for Foreign Exchange Management Act. Yes, you are doing nothing, but then also you have hundreds and thousands of euros and dollars and yen at your place. Yes, are you doing any export import? How did you have in your possession so much foreign currency? Yes, that means you are doing something illegal, or this money has been brought into India without permission of the government, right? And that is how a person can be booked under FEMA. So these are all the ways, different ways in through which government is trying to curb corruption. Money Laundering Act, again, very, very, what is Money Laundering Act? Yes, I have to give someone 1 lakh rupee. Yes, but I have it in black money. So what a person does is uh, he will pay over here. Yes, he will pay to somebody, one agent in the city, and the agent will phone somebody in Bombay and do the transaction over there. So black money transaction happens in that way. So money laundering, that is the meaning act, as well as section 132 of Customs Act. Efforts have been made to curb corruption and find black money by appointing, very very important, this is a recent change, Lokpal and Lok Ayuk each and every state. Yes. Now, Gujarat Vigilance Commission Gandhinagar is undertaking this departmental investigation for the corruption of the misuse of power by the government officials. Next, we come to RTI Act, a very important act which you should know properly, right? 15th June 2005, Central Government of India enacted a right called Right to Information. In short, we know it as RTI. Right? Now, what is RTI? RTI is applicable to all states of India except Jammu and Kashmir. We know the now development, it has been declared as a union territory. So now it applies over there also. This act is also not applicable to, now this act is not applicable to some of the things which are the suppose secret services of the country, for example CBI hai, raw hai, it is not applicable to, you cannot give an RTI application over there. Yes कि अभी कौन कौन से जासूस आपके पास है और क्या क्या काम कर रहे हैं, no they are not, because that relates to the safety and security of the country, and for that they do not have to disclose their activities. So, institutions dealing with safety and security, institutions promoting unity and integrity, for example, defense, etc., you cannot ask for information over there. That information is restricted, and because all of these people, they are answerable to the government, they are answerable to the President of India. So, you cannot ask information because that relates to the safety and security of the country. Yes, so for these institutions it is exempted. Rest all the sectors, areas, it is applicable. Gujarat government implemented the rules of Gujarat Right to Information Act, RTI Gujarat 2005, on 5th of October 2005 on the basis of the legislative provisions that were passed in the assembly. The base of RTI legislation is to acquire transparent, clean, simple, and quick administrative operations and to see public cooperation in it. Now, how to do that? As per RTI, any citizen may approach higher officials of the department and ask to get proper information about their pending works or implementation of schemes or for success or status of public oriented work for this purpose. Now, to give an example, because without example, here examples are not given, right? So, how, what is the work for which information you want? For example, we'll just take the normal works. Okay, we can ask the municipal corporation that in this year, how many contracts for which roads were passed and what was the total amount received by the from the contractor for doing that work, and how was the work done, what was the quality of the work, when it was checked. So all this information we get because municipal corporation, we know they are self-governing bodies and they are answerable. Same way we can ask the state government also ki, in the last 1 year what all work was done for the improvement of the airports, kisko contract diya, kisko nahi diya, and for why reasons why, how much, what was the amount of the contract, etc., when was it, when did it start, when did it finish, so that people become aware of it, right? हम जिस रोड पे चलते हैं, right, वो महीना 2 महीना ठीक रहता है, then there are so many big potholes over there. So we want to know who was the contractor who was given the contract for that. Yes, and uh, was it checked by the municipal corporation whether that road road for the work for the road started on time, finished on time, and what was the quality check, right? So the corporation also becomes aware that we are answerable to people, and if we provide, because they have to provide the right information. Now with that information we can always take the municipal corporation to the court. Yes, because we find lots of inappropriate things in it. So in this way, corruption can be reduced with the help of the people themselves becoming aware and working with the government. For the first time in India, government has started a helpline for resolving a query, providing special information guidance related to the use of RTI, because it was implemented now. So uh, just because 10-15 years awareness of that is not there. So helpline is created, and this number is in numbers keep on changing. We just remember it, 99240 85000. That is the number. It can be changed. One can contact this number on any working hours and days except public holidays to get information. Apart from this, the government has declared civil rights letter to for a deadline for bringing solution in the concerned offices. Yes, uh, under this right, applicant can inquire about the status of his application. This act is a revolutionary step to put off the corruption. Now, under RTI, you have asked some information from any government body. Now, from the day of giving the application, a stipulated time period is given. In that stipulated time period, the government body has to give you the information. If it fails to do that, then you can always seek justice that information was not given to you when you asked, yes, about the stipulated time, and now information has not been given, provided. So that people there answerable, they become responsible and start doing their work efficiently. Process of obtaining RTI. Right to information, that is RTI, gives right to seek answers for questions such as pending work, implementation of schemes that we discussed, status of public works, जो road का example लिया, that is it, government officials, right? To do so, person seeking, now how to apply. Person seeking information needs to write a simple application and pay a fixed fees of rupees 20 in cash. It can be multiple methods are there. You can pay in cash, you can pay in, with a pay order or non-judicial stamp. Nowadays we can pay online also. So it's quite easy to register or to give an application to get information under RTI. Now, application can be very simple on a simple paper, handwritten also, it can be typed also, signed. Nowadays email bhi chalta hai. So lots of ways in which you can file a TI. People belonging to BPL, that is below poverty line, there is no need for them to give that 20 rupees also. For them it is free. Exempted from paying the fixed fees as well as fees for copies. Yes, when you ask for under RTI, you ask some information, they have to give you information. So if you are asking, suppose 800 page ka hua, then you have to pay for that 800 pages. That information that you asked is provided to you, right? But then you have to pay for the pages and the print money, whatever. But for BPL, people below poverty line, if they are seeking some information, they don't have to pay the fees also, plus they do not have to pay for the printouts also. The beauty of RTI is that no need of mention why the application is given. Yes, you are living in some other part of the town and you are asking information for some other part of the town, right? There, you don't have to give reason why you are asking. That is the beauty of the act. Once the application is filed, the Assistant Public Information Officer, that is APIO, becomes responsible. He puts a seal and it gives a serial number, ID number for acknowledges, and on that ID number you can keep on knowing the status के आपका काम कितना आगे बढ़ा और कब आपको मिल जाएगा. The ID number becomes the reference number for all further correspondence, even in the court, to be made regarding. APIO will clear the application with this, and we discussed 30 days के अंदर आपको answer मिल जाना चाहिए. After 30 days, APIO becomes responsible, and you can drag him to the court. If the applicant asks for a copy of any information, then he will have to pay. That also we discussed. If the information sought could affect sovereignty of the country, national interest and security, or related with security issues, secret issues, leads to a contempt of court, or is in connection with scientific secrets, researches, promotes crime, then such information will not be given. So there are some pros, there are some cons. And this is a pro, right? This is not a con. This is not the opposite. It's a pro. Yes, because national security, if that is of national security, then information will not provided to you. You won't be given even an answer because that is just against the act. What is RTE Act? RT is right of children for free and compulsory education. That is what we call a right to education. In short, we know it is as RTE. The one we studied previously was RTI. Now it is RTE. Notice what is the full form? Right of children to free and compulsory education. Two things are there. It is free also and it is compulsory also. Now, how free and how compulsory? Right to education, that is RTE Act, is an act of the Parliament of India enacted in the year 2009. Very, very important. It was enacted in 2009. As per this law, Gujarat government announced, now it was declared by the state, so each and every declared by the central government, so each and every state has to formulate on its own. So Gujarat government announced laws regarding right to free and compulsory education act on 18th February 2012, after 2-3 years. According to the 86th amendment, now we know whatever changes are done to the modifications are done to the constitution, right? That is referred as amendment. So 86th amendment in Indian constitution, primary education has been made free and compulsory for the all. Most important thing is for the age group of 6 to 14 years. Why is it important? We have seen that in child labor also. Now, according to this act, a child should be in school from the age 6 to 14. He should not be elsewhere working. If he is working, then that person can be booked under child labor also, and again violating this act also, because he did not allow the child to go to school. Uh, why was RT formulated? What facilities? Okay, is an act, 86th Amendment, A 6 to 14 that we saw. This is a major step in the developing child as the future citizen of India, with the objective of physical, mental, and all-around development of the child, and necessary education opportunities have been created, which also meets the demand of qualitative primary education. Not only is education made free. Now, we have seen earlier also, we have discussed this also earlier many times, that uh, education should reach the mass, not possible each and everyone. Mass means the people, citizens of the country. It is not possible for each and every citizen. Suppose a very poor person, he is unable to afford the fees of the education of his children. Maybe he has more than 1, 2, 3, 4 children, that he cannot satisfy the demand of the education for all his children. He is a poor person. So rather than he trying to reach the education should reach his children. If he is poor, it becomes the duty of the government to take the responsibility of the education of the child, and that is why it is free. So that even the most poor person in the country cannot say, my child does not go to school because we are poor. So government says, if you are poor, if you are not able to afford the costs of the education of your child, we have opened government school where admission will be given free. He will be given books, he will be given uniform, he will be given all the necessary things that are needed for education. He will come to school, we will educate him free of cost without you spending a single rupee after your child. So this is promised to the most poorest person in the country. So it's a very important thing. And maintaining physical and mental health of the students, that we have discussed. With the same, government provides facility like, what is it? Proper school building and classrooms, and giving grants to the school. The school has to be given grant because teachers have to be paid. The schools have to be maintained, right? Lots of accessories are needed. Lots of things are needed for the education of the children. So all that is provided by the government, right? Laboratory and electricity, that is provided to the school. Pure drinking water should be available in the school by the school authorities plus by the government, providing midday meal, which is very, very important. Yes, uh, uh, lots of lots of children, they are lured towards education because their parents are so poor they cannot give 2 square meals per day to the child. Yes, so the government is promising midday meal. That means when the kids come to school, when the children come to school, their meal will be arranged by the government free of cost, so that parents, poor parents, are encouraged to send their children. At least they will get one meal in a day because they are not even able to provide that, right? So there is there is no reason, there is no excuse that any parent in the country can say that I cannot send my child to school because I don't have money for his education, I do not have money for his food. The food requirement is also satisfied by the government, so that the child gets education. And if each and every child gets education in the country, then the country is certainly going to develop, because that child, with the help of education, he can become a very good person, and he can get very good job, and he can improve the status of living of his family, himself. So in this way, all this can happen if the children of today are educated. For that, if the government has to give free education, they will give. That is a promise. Maintain the quality and qualification of the teachers, developing, maintaining standard format for recruitment of the teachers, etc. All that is seen. Now we come to the next point, that is National Food Security Act, that is NFSA, National Food Security Act, and it was implemented just 5-6 years ago in 2013, and it is very, very important, right? Is a food-based act formed on the basis of, this is another right to food, RTF. So in this we learn RTI, that is right to information, RTE, that is right to education. Now we have RTF, that is right to food. Yes, the same way in which education was given, in the same way, yes, no person in this country, with the help of National Food Security Act and RTF, can say that I'm so poor that I cannot buy food for myself. Then it becomes the duty of the government to give him food. No person in this country should remain hungry. So arrangement has to be made for that. This bill was implemented on 5th of July 2013 by central government. Gujarat government also implemented the bill in Gujarat with the help of Ma Annapurna Yojana, which we have already studied in one of the chapters. The term food security, what is the meaning of that? Every person gets nutritious food for remaining active, for healthy life, and procurement of food. Yes, so that he doesn't have a complaint कि मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है और मैं खाना नहीं खरीद सकता है. Same way for education. If the mass cannot reach education, education has to reach the mass. Same way, if the mass is not able to procure food, then the government should reach to them to give them food. Objective of food security: to satisfy the demand of the food of increasing population of the country, moreover ensuring 2-3 things. First is quality, second is quantity of the food, and providing it at the low rate. We have discussed that in other chapters also. Yes, when you go to the market, you buy rice of 35, 40, 70, 80, 90 rupees kg, whereas the poor person in under the PDS system in FPS, fair price shop, he gets rice at just 3 rupees per kg. So he will be smiling at you because he got rice at 3 rupees, whereas you got rice at 80 rupees. He is smiling because with little money that he is earning, he can save a lot of money because he has to spend just 3 rupees for his food, right? So in this way, the government has been able to bring a smile on all the people of the country who are poor, who are not able to procure food for themselves because they were very poor. They did not earn enough to buy 2 square meals for themselves and their family. So that is the main motive. Important steps to be taken and encouragement should be given to increase production of nutritious food, so that malnutrition among the people and children can be removed, to make PDS system more efficient, transparent, and easy and simple. PDS system, public distribution system, which we learned in the earlier chapters. To provide food securities to the family, that also we have learned. The government identifies poorest of the poor, and Antyodaya Yojana, that we have learned BPL list, so that free food can be given to them. Yes, we learned that 35 kg of grains should be given to them. Yes, because free, so that because they don't earn that much also, that they can go to the FPS shop and buy 2 rupees per kg wheat. They don't even earn that much. So 35 kg to the poorest of the poor. That is the Antyodaya Yojana. Plus BPL 2 rupees, wheat 3 rupees, rice that way, to help pregnant women and feeding mothers to get nutritious food. That is included in this. Discussing the various provisions in the framework for food grain distribution that we know, National Food Security Act, right? The needy, more important is under PDS and National Food NFSA. First thing is needy, middle class, poor families, urban, rural, or everybody has been provided food grain at subsidized rate, that is FPS shop. Under the Antyodaya, poorest of the poor, those families have to be identified, which are known as Antyodaya family, and then for that 35 kg of grain, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, AAY, 35 kg of grains per month free of cost, not take a single penny from them. As per this law, beneficiaries can buy wheat rupees 2 per kg, rice 3 per kg, and coarse grain bajri वगैरह जो होता है, right, so at 1 rupee per kg in the fixed quantity and at fixed price time. Good quality grain is provided under PDS on fixed conditions. At the time of maternity, central government would pay 6,000 as help to the mother, because lots of expenses have to be covered before the delivery, during the delivery, and post delivery. So a lump sum amount of 6,000 rupees is given to mothers so that they can handle their financial expenses. Food security allowance would be given to the beneficiaries in place of grain. That is okay. Now, every month, what is given in the FPS, that is fair price shop, to the poor people? Sugar, iodized salt, kerosene, edible oil, that is twice a year only, are provided at subsidized rates apart from the grains to Antyodaya and BPL families through ration shops. State governments would update list again and again so that maximum benefit is given to the Antyodaya families, people who belong to the BPL, people who belong to the lower middle class, who are just above the BPL, and people who have gone above the poverty line, they are quite high now, so their name can be removed so that some other needy person can get benefit. In Gram Panchayat, list is available over there, right? So Gram Panchayat, Gram Sabha, Ward Sabha, E-Gram, fair price shop, everywhere you will find a list of BPL people under their authority. So टारगेट इज नोन टू ईच एंड एवरी ऑफिशियल कि हमारे पास ये 80 फैमिलीज है जिसका हमने ध्यान रखना है. सो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड द वे विथ विच द गवर्नमेंट एक्ट्स सो दैट ईच एंड एवरी नीडी पर्सन इन द सोसाइटी गेट्स their required food stuff, so that is National Food Security Act. So with this we complete our chapter also and today's lecture also. Thank you, students.